Hello everyone, I'm Carl from Dynamic. I'm introducing another intraoral scanner from our series, the DDS500. This is what it looks like. It has a very compact design. Compared to the previous DDS300, it is lighter and offers smoother operation. The DDS500 is an upgraded version of the 300, featuring enhanced software functionalities. Like the 300, it is calibration-free, meaning there's no need for any 3D calibration or color calibration. Secondly, it is lighter, weighing in at 198 grams. Thirdly, regarding the scanning head, the 300 had a single-size scanning head, while the 500 offers two sizes, small and large, and supports high temperature and high pressure disinfection. The previous DDS300 defaulted the front of the scanning head by heating the chip, while the DDS500 uses a more advanced and efficient air-blowing defogger method. It allows us to scan directly without waiting during use, and it is more efficient. This is our DDS500 intraoral scanner. Let's take a look at its accessories. Besides the detachable main body, there are 4 scanning heads of 2 different sizes, and also its base. The base consists of 2 parts that can be combined, allowing us to place the machine on the base easily. Next, let's take a brief look at the software part of the machine. Before checking the software, we need to look at our computer specification, which are the same as those for the 300. All the iOS requirements differ, and the computer requirements are quite high, so let's check the specification. Again, we use the Windows key and a key on the keyboard to enter the command DDS500. After entry, we confirm. We'll look at all the computer specification, focusing on 2 main points, the operating system and the processor, and the second is the graphics card. For the DDS500, the most important requirement is the Windows 10 Pro version. And we recommend 32 GB of RAM. If you have 16 GB, it can be used, but performance may be slightly affected, especially when scanning large datasets, so 32 GB is highly recommended. The second point is the graphics card. We prefer NVIDIA graphics cards, which is the same as for the 300. Currently, it is not compatible with AMD graphics card models, so we must pay attention to our computer specification. After reviewing the specification, let's look at the software. The software icon is displayed on the desktop. Double-click to open it. After opening, we can see the main interface of the software. The menu bar is on the left, and the display content is on the right. First, the dashboard. In the dashboard interface, we can see a lot of information about the device and account, such as the status of all current orders, whether they're in an unshipped status, shipped status, or already received by the lab. Below that, we can see the remaining and total amounts of our cloud storage space. Here, we can check the serial numbers of all the scanners we are currently connected to or have historically connected to. This section contains the overall information about our account, such as your working hours, registration date, and more. Below that is the medical record section, where we can view all case information. And the current status of each case can also be checked. The third is the orders column. All orders sent to our lab can be viewed here. Of course, sending does not mean sending the scan data by exporting it locally, but sending it directly to the lab online.
The fourth option is to view all patient information. The fifth option includes third-party integrated software apps, as well as our proprietary integrated software.
When checking this software, we need to ensure our software is connected to the internet. Without an internet connection, this page may not refresh. The main features include, first, as scanning software. Second, data comparison. Third, model-based addition. Fourth, ortho simulation. And fifth, smile design. This is part of our own software. After reviewing the menu bar, we can look at the settings related to the software. First, we have the language settings. We support many software languages available globally. Allowing you to choose different languages based on your needs. This section shows the current storage space on the computer and the remaining space, helping us determine if there's enough space to save data. We can also set automatic data deletion at different intervals for unnecessary data. The final option is its integration with third-party ExaCAD software, allowing us to directly import scan data into ExaCAD. Below this is our interface for accessing the cloud, including the entry point. Let's take a look. After opening the cloud in the software, this is a web-based data interface. It is quite similar to the local software interface we demonstrated earlier. There are some additional features. The first one is My Partner, where we can add accounts from that side. If you have a dynamic cloud account and your lab partner also has one, you can register for a dynamic account to add partners. Once added, you can send data directly online. In this section, you can directly input the email account of the other party. After searching, you can add them directly. Of course, this addition requires the other party's approval. If you add them and they do not agree, you will see that in this section. Once approved, it can be viewed under My Partners. Next is the basic account information. Here, you can view account details. Two important points are: first, you can change the current account password. Second, you can see information about all connected scanners, including their activation time and warranty period, all available on this interface. This is the information displayed on the web version. For our software, even though it has cloud capabilities, you can still use it offline if your network is not very good. When your network is stable, you can switch to online mode, and that data will automatically upload to the cloud. You can control whether to go offline or online using the options here. This covers the basic information about our software. Next, we will look at the specific scanning process in the software. First, we'll create a new case. Let's enter the patient's information. After confirming, we enter the order interface. In the order interface, there are three main options. First, restoration. Second, orthodontics. And third, others. In the restoration order interface, we can select the corresponding indications for the teeth, such as crowns, inlays, and missing teeth. This also includes implants. If we need to place an implant, we can first select the tooth position. After selecting the tooth position, we click on the crown, and then in the options below, we can choose the corresponding abutment type. This creates an implant order. If we select incorrectly, we can clear it in the progress section below. This is our restoration order interface. Next, we have the orthodontic order interface, which includes options for clear aligners, traditional brackets, and others, including our applications like smile design, intraoral scanning, and biplates. Now, let's scan an orthodontic case and look at the specific process. Select orthodontics and choose the corresponding indications. After making the selection, click the scanning option on the right to enter the scanning interface. This is the software scanning interface. Once in, there will be a scanning checklist. If it detects that no scanning device is connected, we need to check if our machine is connected to the computer and if it's via a USB 3.0 port. Once connected, wait for the software to recognize our scanner. We can see that the scanner will have a light blinking. At this point, it will be recognized. When the light is flashing, we can see that our scanner is connected. When we place the scanner on the base, its light will blink, indicating a connection through sensing. This is the software scanning interface. In this interface, we can also make some basic settings for the software. In the upper right corner of the software, for example, we can choose whether to control the scanner remotely. This option is off by default when the software is installed, but we can enable it if needed. Once enabled, we can rotate the scanner to view the model data. This includes sound options during scanning, with three selectable options. First, we can choose different sound effects based on our preference. Additionally, when scanning the bite, we can set the pressure level. There are three pressure levels: low, medium, and high. The default setting is medium pressure, which can be adjusted according to actual needs. The main scanning steps involve three areas: the maxilla, mandible, and occlusion. If you wish to scan other options during the order, you can add those here, including pre-op scans and scanning rods, depending on the upper and lower jaws. Let's first demonstrate a maxillary scan using our scanner in a horizontal position. The scanning method is quite simple. Position the scanner parallel to the occlusal surface of the teeth. Once the position is confirmed, press the Start button to begin scanning. We need to keep moving at a constant speed during the scan. This completes our maxillary scan. We can review the scan by moving the mouse. Since we enabled remote control earlier, we can also use the scanner to rotate and view our model. If there are any missing areas, we can perform a touch-up scan. Now that the scan is complete, on the left side of the software, there are several functions we can briefly review. The first is the cut function, which allows us to remove excess data. We can use various methods to trim unnecessary data. The second function is to lock important areas of the tooth surface. We can lock certain critical areas to prevent unnecessary data from being captured during subsequent scans. Once locked, those areas will be protected. The third function is to add markers to the teeth. When performing restorations, we can mark specific teeth. And during the optimization process, the details in that area will be better refined, which is especially helpful for viewing the tooth's edge lines. The range of our tooth markers can be adjusted using the options below for zooming in and out. The last function is for detecting the occlusal area. Once selected, we can see the directional icons to choose from. Different occlusal areas will have different colors, and the values in the lower left corner represent different occlusal zones. The last function is deletion, allowing us to remove unwanted data. This section includes our AI scanning function. When activated, the software can automatically remove unnecessary soft tissue data, such as lips, tongue, or excessive oral cavity data. The three options represent different levels of removal strength. The last option is useful when scanning with a non-compressive tray. Below this is the metal scanning feature. When scanning shiny metal surfaces, we can turn this on to improve data capture. Finally, there's the impression scan option, allowing us to scan data from silicone impressions. On the right side, the first option allows us to switch the model's color. The second option adjusts the surface detail and brightness. The third option is for reliability detection. When the model displays green, it indicates that the scan data is complete and reliable. Non-green areas indicate incomplete scan data. If necessary, we can perform a touch-up scan. However, this function serves as a reference only and should not be the final standard. It's crucial to use human judgment to determine if the current data meets standards, as this is very important. The last option is for a high-definition camera. When we want to take a picture of a specific tooth, we can hover the mouse over the tooth. This will display different images, and we can choose the one we need to view. Once we have selected the image, click the option below to save it. This image can then be exported later during data export for efficient communication between our doctors and technicians. This concludes the explanation of the basic functions of our entire interface. After completing the maxillary scan, we will now perform a mandibular scan. We can directly click to enter the mandibular scan interface. As mentioned earlier, our scanner has remote control capabilities. Besides moving our model, we can use the button to switch to the next step. There are two buttons. The first is the Scanning Start button, which has an upper and lower section. And the second is the upper-lower jaw switch button, allowing us to toggle between them. Now, let's switch to the mandibular scan and proceed with it. The scanning method remains the same. We start by scanning the occlusal surface. After scanning, we can check if the data is complete. In this interface, I can demonstrate another remote control function. By long pressing the scanning button, a dialog box appears with options for up, down, left, and right. If we want to zoom in on the model to see more details, we can lift the scanner's head, and the model will enlarge. Let me demonstrate that again. When we want to make the model smaller, we can perform the same operation. It's important to keep the scanner as flat as possible during this process. Avoid holding it at angles, as this can cause errors in the function.
This is another part of the remote control features. The scanner has several remote control operations. First, switching between upper and lower jaws and occlusion with buttons. Second, viewing the model by rotating the scanning wand. And third, long pressing the scanning wand to bring up the dialog box, where you can choose to zoom in, or go to the previous, next step. Okay, these are the remote control features. After completing the upper and lower scans, we will now perform a bite scan. When scanning the occlusion, it's crucial to ensure that the patient's occlusal relationships are correct during the scanning process. Any deviations can lead to problems in the final results, because the software cannot verify the patient's occlusal relationships. This judgment must be made by the operator.
Below this is the metal scanning feature. When scanning shiny metal surfaces, we can turn this on to improve data capture.
Move slowly as you scan. After completing one side, proceed to scan the other side. Move gently and slowly. Now we have completed the scans for both sides and can review the data. If everything looks good, we have two options here. The first is to adjust the occlusal pressure. We can click on this occlusal pressure option to check the current status. The current occlusal pressure is quite loose. If we want to tighten it, we can press the button again. We can see that the occlusal contact between the upper and lower jaws is now in an ideal relationship. The second option is our occlusion analysis. After clicking, we can see different colors on the surface of the teeth. Each color represents different values, indicating the contact distance between the upper and lower teeth, whether they are close or far apart. This covers all the scanning nodes. Once completed, we can proceed to the next step for data optimization. Optimize the data. The duration of data optimization primarily depends on how much data was captured during the maxillary and mandibular scans. The more data collected and the longer the scanning time, the more time this step will require. Conversely, if less data is obtained in a shorter time, this step will take less time. Additionally, the computer's configuration will also affect the speed of this process. Once the optimization is complete, we move on. This interface also has a measurement function. We can click to select the area we want to measure. In the lower right corner, we can choose 2 points to measure the distance between the roots of the left and right teeth, as well as the width of a crown. OK, the final step is to complete the process and save the data. After saving, we will automatically return to the order interface, where we can send or export our data. If you want to review the data again before sending or exporting, you can view it in the File section. The 2 photos we selected earlier can also be viewed in this area. For data sending, we have 2 options. The first is to export the data as an STL file, or PLY or OBJ formats. Once exported, these files can be sent to our lab for further dental design. Similarly, if our lab has an account, we can authenticate within the software and directly send our scanned data to the previously linked account. Let's demonstrate this. First, we will export the data. There is an export option here. After exporting, we can choose the export folder and file format. There are multiple options available for you to choose from. After confirming, proceed with the export and select a folder. Once exported, our data will be available for review. The exported data includes two file formats. This option is for cloning, which allows us to copy a new order. We can add a lot number and comments here. This option lets us attach third-party documents, such as photos or other scanned data, like STL files that are not from our brand. The fourth option is to delete. The fifth option allows printing a third-party model. This is the export. The last option is for remote engineers, requiring a specific file format, which users do not need to manage. Because of network issues earlier, there was a prompt when sending orders. Now that the network is stable, when we click to send the order, we can select. You can see the options available for selection among our partners. This is something I've added previously, and we can view it on my partner page. In the My Partner section, there is a partner that has already been added. When we choose to send an order, we will have this selection available, where we can leave comments or even voice messages. Once everything is confirmed, we can directly click Send to submit the order. The order has been sent successfully. After sending successfully, we will return to the scanning interface or the order sending interface. If we need to perform operations again, we can click on the option to copy the order. After copying the order, all previous interfaces, including the scanning and sending order interfaces, will return. Once we've reviewed everything, we can look at another feature, which is the orthodontic simulation. This requires a stable internet connection on the computer to operate effectively. If the network is poor or unstable, this function may take a long time or may not work at all. Let us wait a moment. If the network is bad, we won't be able to operate it. We can try switching networks. Let's wait for a bit until the network stabilizes. And in the meantime, we can look at another function. This feature allows us to assess the model base. After clicking, we first need to determine whether the upper and lower jaws are correct. If they are marked correctly, we can click to switch between them. After confirming that everything is fine, we will proceed to the next step. In this interface, we need to adjust the edge trimming, which can be increased or decreased using the brush tool or another button. We can also adjust the entire area directly. After making adjustments, we can proceed to the next step. In this step, we need to overlap the model with the designated area. There are two options for overlap: 3-point and 4-point methods. The 3-point method involves selecting the 7th and 1st teeth for alignment. Once aligned, we can make fine adjustments using the right mouse button. This looks pretty good. We can proceed to the next step. In this step, we will add a base for the model. There are different shapes of bases available: the first type, the second type, and the third type. Each type allows us to hollow out the model. We can also adjust the height of the model base to an appropriate level, which helps to save material for printing. Here, we can preview the model in advance. If everything looks good, we can continue to the next step. In this step, we can add text labels, adjust the font size, and modify the depth. After completing all steps, the final step is to export. In the file view, you can see the model base we just created. This is the functionality of the model base. After designing the model, let's check the previous machine simulation to see if the network is functioning properly. When we open it, if it shows calculating, it means the network is currently stable. We should wait a few minutes for the calculation to complete. The simulation is primarily used for doctor-patient communication, allowing patients to see the results of their orthodontic treatment in advance. However, it should not be considered the final judgment or diagnosis from the doctor, nor the actual outcome of treatment. It is mainly for communication purposes. The entire calculation process takes some time, so we need to be patient and wait. The calculation is complete. This process does take a bit of time. On the left is the original position, and on the right is the target position, allowing for an upper and lower jaw comparison. You can see the comparison from both sides. This can also be differentiated into 6 views for more detailed comparison. Currently, our software is only for simulation and does not yet support tooth extraction or movement. We will gradually update this feature to allow operators to freely move teeth and simulate extractions. The last step displays an animation for patients to view. We hope all users can be patient while we enhance the software with more rich features. After reviewing the simulation, let's look at the smile design feature. We will open it and import the two required folders: a frontal smile folder and an intraoral folder. Choose the appropriate folders. After this, we'll proceed to the next step. This step mainly involves adjusting the images to determine the central position. Once confirmed, we continue to the next step to edit the smile curve. We can double-click to add new editing points. After editing, we proceed to the next step. The next step is to align the data from the two photons, ensuring they are in the same position. We can move this point to check the position of the photons. It requires careful and slow adjustments. This looks good. The adjustments are nearly complete. After finishing the adjustments, we continue to the next step. This step is very important as it involves designing the shape of the teeth. I will start with some basic edits. This step also requires careful attention and takes a considerable amount of time to complete. Let's take a quick look at the process. However, it doesn't need to be that wide. We can also select the desired tooth morphology based on the patient's actual situation. Choose according to the area that fits best. This option seems more suitable. In addition to overall adjustments, we can also make detailed adjustments. We can also duplicate teeth, copying the left and right teeth. After making adjustments, we proceed to the next step. I need to make some fine-tuning in this area. Alright, next step. Now we will select the texture of the teeth and the hardness of the lips. After making these adjustments, we will proceed to the next step. Due to time constraints, we won't adjust each detail one by one. Instead, we can look at a previous case we adjusted. Here, we can make fine adjustments to the gums. The final step is to see the comparison before and after. Because of time issues, we can't show everything perfectly. However, this is a similar case we designed earlier. You can see that the results are quite perfect and the overall effect is excellent.
That concludes our presentation on the DDS500 product.
We hope this has been helpful to everyone. If you encounter any issues or have questions during use, please feel free to contact our local distributors or sales colleagues. We are always here to assist you. Thank you all.